Hello, dear divine. My goodness. There are some energies that are flowing through that I am experiencing, that I don't know if you're experiencing, but that need to be digested. I feel like I need to go slow and really take care. And so, in the spirit of going slow, did we go slow? Start in silent, visual presence with one another. And now, then, do we invite the element of voice? Much like I imagine how creation must have experienced itself, question mark, from a void, from silence to voice, to then being. That's how I imagine that progression. And it is the concepts that is creation, that is divinity, that seem to be the focus of this video today. I do have cards, and unlike the previous videos, I'd say that these cards were more confirmation of what I was already feeling called to talk about, versus before the cards would lead, would guide the muse of the day. Muse as opposed to news. And so divinity, creation, which, if one were to scan deeper into those concepts, one would find faith, religion. That will be today's focus, today's musing. From what I have come to learn through my development as a person and soul through this lifetime, and what may be channeled forth from spirit, from the makers of this guide and the spirit within them. So, here we go. We started today in silence. Because in truth, again, like the title of an older video of mine, silence is where we remember our divinity. Silence is that space, if we allow ourselves to go there and stay there for a while, we can discover more than is available to us through this reality, through other people who wish to teach us what they know. Silence is where God can teach us more than the reflections of us that we see around us now. Please read this guidebook, only because to experience it read to you versus read within you, those are two different experiences. And since this card has come out before, I'd like you to have both. So, here we are, returning to silence, returning to this vast expanse, not alone with God ourselves, but alone with one another and the divine, in the hopes of exploring deeper, expanding further than the expanse in which we occupy now. And expanse, I can mean perception, perspective. For it is in this expanse that we can know. This word here is gnosis. Greek for knowledge or esoteric spiritual knowledge. Please read this. When I approach readings for myself and now this, and approach receiving and interpreting my intuition itself, I approach it by seeking a felt understanding of what I am interpreting. So I don't rest for it making sense to my mind, it making rational, logical sense, which it can. And I also make it a standard that I feel the understanding. Feel as in with body, with intuition. Feel in the vastness of all that we are, because we are not just our mind. We are not just the personality, the character that we've understood ourselves to be. We are also this vessel, this physical vessel. And not just our notions of this physical vessel, but the vessel to what it feels, what it senses, what it also communicates to us. As not just senses, physical, but also senses, intuition, spiritual, energetic, emotional. those senses can speak louder and louder, in that they're more tapped in to the reality in which we are living and experiencing reality. Well, I hope I'm making sense to your heart, to your body, that you can let go of mind and hear with soul what may resonate for you. And so, again, felt understanding. I'm hoping that that is how you are receiving me, approaching, trying to receive me, as that is how I approach always receiving from the divine. Through my gifts, through my intuition, through cards, through all divine reflections. So, knowing the word gnosis, meaning knowledge, for the Greek specifically, spiritual, esoteric knowledge, reading what the guidebook acknowledges as gnosis, also knowledge, education, all that has happened before. And then going deeper still to the internet, because knowledge, and identify Gnosticism as a belief system that values, again, the spiritual, and emphasizing the spiritual over the physical, the material reality, as valuable. And all those bits of information together, I still did not feel like I understood gnosis. And so I dove deeper for myself. And next came the word to my mind, homeostasis, a state of being balanced, and not a passive state of just resting in balance, though the balance is restful. It is an active state that one must sustain, one must make effort, do things to sustain homeostasis for oneself. And so I then applied that understanding of a state to this word, gnosis. And I believe gnosis is an active state of learning, not a passive state of, okay, all these books are in front of me and I see it, or like all these archives of my knowledge are here and I can just pull out what I need at any given moment. That's more of a passive state of having knowledge. Gnosis, being an active state of being able to access knowledge at any point, is a humble state where one is always questioning, one is uninhibited in not knowing, and therefore seeking further wisdom and knowledge from the reality that is around it. Gnosis, I believe, is the highest expression of lived faith, because gnosis is not so arrogant as to believe that any lens from which they are viewing God or faith is the only lens. Because, say this box that you are watching me in, say this box is God. Every lens of faith combines different aspects of God and says, hey, this here is God, this is God. And then this subset says this is God, this subset says this is God. But all of these people, all of these faiths are looking at God. It's just not the fullest, widest expanse of God. And who am I to say that I know this and you don't, or these people don't? It is because God is infinite. All I know is that any set of information that we can say is God cannot capture God, because God is infinite. If we can fathom God, it is not entirely God that we fathom. It is just part of God, the part that we can fathom, because God is infinite. So no faith is absolute in truth. No faith supersedes the others. All faiths are true. And that is the beauty of this reality, and the beauty of the variation in human expression, is that we can be so vastly different and so varied person to person, millions of us, and still intimately know God through not just the faith that we choose to believe, but also through the way we experience and interpret reality and have hope in the future. Each of us intimately knows God in the way that would feel the most intimate for us. And so there is no absolute truth, but the truth that we experience and through which we can experience God in the now, through our perceptions, through our understanding, but also through the experience itself. I feel that the concept of gnosis has far escaped my mind, because I'm so familiar with the word agnostic. I'm more familiar with that word than truthfully this word before now. And I think that reflects part of our forgetting as humanity, that Gnosticism preceded Christianity as a belief system, meaning that we were seeking the spiritual before we landed on Christianity. We were in a state of seeking before we discovered a lens that seemed to work for us. And that is the purpose of gnosis, is to seek, is to discover hope, faith, a reason to keep going in this hard life. And so to find a lens that works is the goal, is it not? And yet I think the trap that many have fallen into is that we do choose a lens. And in the growing darkness of continuing to live and experience strain and struggle in this world, through also the systems that our belief systems are not enough to hold us up in light and hope and faith. And yet we still hold on to them and then wield them and point at other people. We've clung so much to lenses, to bits of God. We've forgotten what it is to be humble in the face of the vastness of God, in the face of the vastness of this reality and what's possible here. We've fallen into a dark pathway of control, of trying to control Mother Nature, each other, and we are being invited to take steps back from this path, to remember what it means to explore beyond the lenses from which we are seeing ourselves, one another in this world, in humble surrender to the fact that we are limited, and this universe, God, is far vast, far more vast than any of us can ever comprehend, define. And so, in the silence is where God can make himself, herself, themself more clear to you. That your understanding of God can expand beyond whatever notions you already have of God, the divine source creator. So that the heaviness that you carry in life, the darkness, the shadows of hurt and pain and trauma you've endured, continue to carry, that you can carry them forward. We need faith. We need faith. We need oneness with each other and something beyond ourselves in order to want to continue in a reality that is hard, that takes, and especially now, that oppresses. We need faith. And we need to be humble in it. It would not be fair for God to only make him, herself known a certain way. A way that makes sense to you but no one else. Or a way that makes sense to a group of us but those outside of the group cannot comprehend or relate. God would not limit, Goddess would not limit herself to only being known a certain way. Goddess, God, the divine is infinite. Let's heed that some more. That's the message I believe is being birthed through me now for us all to consider. We live in an interesting time, putting it nicely, and we definitely need to invite silence, invite God in deeper, so that way we can have faith in one another, faith in love, faith in what's possible, and bring that forth in the years to come. I send you love. I send you warmth. Stay steady. Keep shedding. Dear Divine. Until next time, fairer.